All right, everybody, it's time for you to get out and nominate your favorite podcasts. There's a show I want you to consider for the People's Choice Podcast Awards. Writers and Illustrators of the Future podcast in 3 categories: education, storyteller and drama, and arts. For 5 years and with over 280 weekly episodes and 64 million plus downloads, the Writers and Illustrators of the Future podcast has provided advice and tips from international best-selling authors, world-class artists, contest judges and winners, and industry professionals. It is based on the world-famous Writers of the Future contest created in 1983 by L. Ron Hubbard to help the aspiring writer and artist no matter their age, race, ethnicity, or gender. It is dedicated to the future of storytelling and art by showing that it is never too late to start, and those who make it are those who never give up. We are all busy, but I'd be so grateful if you could take a moment and vote now. Go to podcastawards.com to nominate the Writers and Illustrators of the Future podcast in any or all 3 of the categories: education, storyteller, drama, or art.
Hey, good evening, everybody, and welcome to the show Into the Night with me, Sean Kelly. This is my Tuesday night edition. Hello, Michelle. Hey, Cindy. Good to see you in the chat room. I want to thank UPRN Talk Radio 105.3 New Orleans, 107.7 Mississippi. And also like to thank Carnation for sponsoring my show Sunday nights and Tuesday nights. I'm also on Sunday night on the same platform here, UPRN Talk Radio. And I have some interesting stuff coming up for next month. I have a cousin that does film, and he also works on a TV series. And I'm going to get him on the show, and we're going to talk about everything that has to do with TV series, working behind the lines. He produces his own stuff. He's real into the horror films, ghosts and stuff like that. So I'm looking forward to that. And if you know anybody else that would like to be on the show, send me a message at Pittsburgh Paranormal Society Facebook page, and send them their information so we can, see if we can get them on and talk about what their thing was, what their specialty is. So I was talking to my friend Roy White, who does Bloodfest down there at Dudas Farms, and he said that both nights turned out really, really good. And I want to thank everybody who went down there or had them in their thoughts or prayers. For making those 2 Bloodfests, those 2 weekends, like a really exciting weekend. I know I had a lot of fun. There are some people that I know I said I would give them a shout out. The one person, the one company is Coffin Coffee. Yes. And they were down there selling their coffees down there, and they were really, really nice. I'm going to get more into them probably into the next month, but I just have been so busy lately for work and stuff like that. But you know what? It will all come down, and we'll get everybody on. You know, but life has been okay for me. You know, things are going along smooth. I just got done cleaning out the basement in the house, and oh my God, what a mess! I never knew there were so many damn spiders in my house. But you know what? It's just a start. We got half a quarter of it done, so I'll continue working on that. Um, Nothing too much on the paranormal side. I know that they had their Gettysburg event up there. I think it was Bump in the Night that was up there with them, and I heard that they had a good time up there. Um, but right now, it's like the real slow season for paranormal investigations, you know. But eventually, by September, it should start picking up. So we'll see what happens there. But what I would like to discuss tonight is, you know, the last 4 weeks that I had Bigfoot people on my show. Richie B and Mr. Wojo, Bill Rigby was on. Um, excuse me, and the the twins, the brothers. You know, the Vogel brothers. That's who they are. And we also had Squatchman on at one time. And I don't know about you, but it was a very interesting month. Um, there was a lot of information out there that they presented, you know, to the show, to everybody out there. And it was really interesting. So my question to you, to everybody tonight, does Bigfoot exist? Okay. I know that Richie B and Mr. Wojo, they had some very, very interesting pictures. And the Vogel brothers, um, you know, I hope you went to their Facebook page to see the pictures that they put up of all their evidence that they got. Mr. Wojo sent me a video the other day, and you could actually hear them. Him and Richie B are in the woods, and you can actually hear the whistling going on out there. And then you heard the knock. I mean, it was a faint knock, but it was okay. You know, I heard the knock. And I was really excited for them that they got that evidence. How about those feet? You know, the foot imprints of the Bigfoot that they caught. And the Vogel brothers got some good stuff too, some good imprints, casting their imprints on of Bigfoot. Now, we finally realized with every one of my guests that the male Bigfoot is at 17 and a half inch foot, and like 8, 9, 10, I think 10 inches wide. And the female Bigfoot goes around 14 inches, you know, and they do have the juveniles. But what struck me the most about the foot when they pick up footprints on the Bigfoot was that they would, you know, track it. They might find 2 or 3. I think one of the Vogel brothers said that they tracked one and actually had 6 foot imprints on the Bigfoot. But my question, you know, to them, and it's really been mind-boggling to me, and maybe somebody can come up with an answer for it. But if they only pick up 3 foot imprints, or 4 foot imprints, or just 1 foot imprint, where in the hell are the other footprints at? You know, you would figure somebody that tall, somebody that big, somebody with all that weight, and all you're doing is just getting one foot or 2 feet imprints by casting. I mean, where do they go? I don't know where they go. Is it possible that the woods that they are in, that there are different portals out there? It's very, very possible about that. Um, and it was just not Richie and Mr. Wojo. It was also the Vogel brothers talking about it. Also, Squatchman and also Bill Rigby talking about the stuff, about the footprints. Um, I don't know. What is your opinion? Please tell me what your opinion is. Or if you want to just keep your opinion to yourself, that's pretty cool too. But whoever's in the room here tonight, feel free to please, what is your suggestion? What do you think is happening? It just blows me away that they can just walk. Cindy says, I'm wondering if it's because they are running and not putting the entire foot down. That's a good observation, Miss Cindy. That's true. I never thought about it. I hope Mr. Wojo and Richie and the Vogel brothers are listening in tonight. But I like what Cindy Simpson had to say. She says she's wondering if it's because they are running and not putting the entire foot down. I can see that because, I saw a photograph, I think Mr. Wojo caught, um, and they didn't get the full footprint, but they got the heel of the foot. Okay. So they must be fast creatures. You know what I mean? They must be really, really fast creatures because to run that quick and not put, an imprint down on the ground like that. But I can actually see them, running. Um, I can see that because hell, they live out in the woods, you know, and they know all the paths, or they make their own paths themselves. But it's just amazing to know that they can go full speed at a certain amount so fast. It's like they float on air. That's the way I would look at it, Cindy. You know, and if anybody else out there, but Cindy says yes, very fast. My ex-husband saw one. Oh, he did, Cindy. Oh, okay, okay. Yeah, and I think yeah, and I also do believe Scotsman and Mr. Rigby saw one moving pretty quick, and the Vogel brothers and stuff like that. It's funny how you got these guys that go out and they do their due diligence on investigating, just like I did my due diligence on paranormal investigating, and it's like yes, to me, ghosts exist. I saw one. I dealt with one. In fact, I dealt with more than just one. But why won't the Bigfoot want to really show themselves? I can only think of a couple of reasons, and that would be they don't want to deal with us, because we're pretty messed up in the head, you know. I guarantee it. They do know that there are people that go out in the woods. Hey, Squats man, maybe you can help me out, brother. Question was, and Cindy, I want to ask. Cindy said something because Squats. I was talking about how when you go out and track Bigfoot and you get a footprint and you do a cast on it, okay, but they only see 2 or 3 footprints, and after that they're all gone. And Cindy came up and said she was wondering if it is because they are running and not putting the entire foot down. What do you think of that, Squatch? I appreciate that. If you could get, if you could answer that. If you anything else that you would like to include with that answer, because for all the people that I've had on, buddy, um, it's like they see them, but they don't see them. They might see them for a split second. You got all these people out there that are showing videos of Bigfoot out there, and how basically they walk like a human being. So is it like staged? I know a long time ago that I forget, I mentioned it at the beginning of the month, that there was a guy that actually made um, Bigfoot feet out of wood. and they would go out into the woods and make impressions. So they were kind of like screwing up the evidence and making people excited. Um, but it's just, being a ghost hunter and actually the ghost coming up and looking at you, yeah, that's great. But my thing is, why not the Bigfoot? I mean, they'll follow you. I mean, and it's not just one. There's probably 3 or 4 of them following you, and then they break twigs, or and they make their sounds and um, doing knocks on the trees, whatever noise that they make, the whistling, you know. But you can get like a person that could be screwing with Bigfoot hunters, out there in the woods and knocking on the trees, and I believe my people that I had on as guests. Um, I know they take it serious, and I believe what they showed, okay, is great. But I'm talking in view as a skeptic of the situations. Okay, talking about being a skeptic about it. Um, like I can easily say, well, you know what? There was a guy that went up to me. It looks like a foot imprint, um, and somebody did it. Just like at that one time when everyone thought crop circles were made from UFOs, you know. But I can understand because I have dealt with people who didn't believe in the paranormal and didn't believe in ghosts. And at the beginning of my investigations, you know, it's like, they laughed at me and stuff like that. So I decided not to show them to anybody and just kept them. And my thought always was, uh, whatever I get, I just keep to myself. Squad says, I found several like that. They are quick, but they climb too. Had several 14-inch prints and then gone, and found the rest 20 yards away. So I forget what person I had on. Maybe it was you, Squatch. Um, but let me repeat what Squatch had to say about that, Cindy. He says, I found several like that. They are quick, but they climb too. Had several 14-inch prints and then gone. Found the rest 20 yards away. Juveniles love to play hide and seek. You know what? Never thought of that. Do they like to play hide and seek with humans, or do they like to play hide and seek amongst themselves? That's the question you have to ask. And I guess whenever you have the juveniles around, you can guarantee a mama Bigfoot's going to be hanging out. I do believe the 14 inchers feet that they get are the females of the Bigfoot, you know. And so maybe they do climb. But I also heard, I don't know who told me this, but it kind of intrigued me that they refer them to like as monkeys or apes, whatever, because they do swing from tree to tree. I do believe someone said that they saw a juvenile swinging in the trees. Um, and maybe they can. Cindy goes, yes, I understand that is why they stay around the woods. Okay, cool. But my question, and they squats, if you see one, there's 4 or 5 around. That's what I kind of figured. But, I have, I did some more research over the month, okay? And I really have never heard or found anybody being actually attacked by a Bigfoot. Maybe someone did. Um, I don't know. I looked everywhere, but no one has actually um, written one down. And I'm sure that maybe a Bigfoot did attack these people, and again, they just don't want to put it in the they don't want to put it out there for fearing that all the ridicule that they're going to be getting. Squatch says if you see one, there's 4 or 5 around. Michelle, me, my 2 sisters, and best friend seen and heard a Bigfoot in Oregon of a hiking trail near the Pacific Ocean. Well, I tell you what, Michelle, I know that Washington State, Montana, California, Oregon, there's a lot of them out there, a lot of Bigfoot out there, and there's a lot, probably, a lot of Bigfoot sightings, because it's the West Coast, Washington, Northwest, and that's all it is out there is woods. But what surprised me a lot, was that there is a lot of Bigfoot sightings down here on the East Coast. You're looking at Pennsylvania, you're looking at Massachusetts, you're looking at Ohio, you're looking at South Carolina, and they're all up and down. Okay, Squatchman says, yes, it's true, but it's hidden. People have been attacked and killed. Okay, and I can understand that it'd be hidden, because they really did not want to probably get that all out there. And Michelle says it stunk. And me and Squatch came up with the idea when I had Squatchman on as a guest, saying that when you smell it, it smells raunchy and shit, But I do believe we believe. There you are. Ha ha. There you are, Richie. Good to see you, buddy. But when you smell the stank, it smells so damn bad. But me and Squatchman Squatch came up with it, and I kind of believe it, is that it's the mum Bigfoot, kind of like letting off this stink. So either A, it's the scent that the juveniles can follow, or maybe to scare the hell out of us. It's the females. Okay, Squatch, thanks, buddy. Banter with Richie B. I hope you're doing pretty good, man. Mr. Wojo sent me that video of the whistle and then the tree knock. That was awesome, man. That was awesome. Awesome pickup. Great to see you as well, my friend. Yes. But it was a pretty interesting month with all my guests, So to me, having the open mind, of course, Bigfoot exists. And by looking at the evidence, yeah, it's hot down here, brother. Very, very hot. And but looking at the evidence that Richie and Mr. Wojo caught, and the Vogel brothers that I saw, and then what Squatch, shared about, they do exist. But I guess everybody that goes into the investigation of Bigfoot, it don't have to be Bigfoot. It can be cryptids, it can be ghosts, it can be UFOs, it can be aliens. You know what I mean? And and like the boys up in Massachusetts and Squatchman and Mr. Rigby, and they're doing their due diligence on it. They are doing their research. And God bless them. God bless them. And I really hope that that they get the answers that they seek. I know that I really enjoyed whenever I got evidence of the paranormal, of ghosts and mist and orbs and whatever. Sure, there's the evidence. There is the pictures, the videos and stuff like that. But you know what we have to do is just, and it's sad, but we seriously need to keep it to ourselves. Okay? Because nobody is If you're out to look for credit where credit is due, and that's you by finding all this evidence and stuff like that, and that's with all the paranormal, all the cryptid hunting, all the Bigfoot hunting, all the UFOs and aliens. You're not going to get it because there's going to be two or three people out there that are just going to ridicule you and give you guys a bad name. And I've experienced it. So to keep it to ourselves and actually finding the answers that we need to that we find and all the evidence that we mark down and all that, then it's to us. You know, it answers our questions. You know, I don't need to be on TV. I don't, the only way, and I tell this, when I bring this kind of topic up, is if you really want to have a TV show, honestly, write a book. Write a book about it. Get it published. Cindy says, my husband kept seeing Bigfoot to himself till like last year. Cindy, and maybe your husband, I haven't met him yet, but you talk about him, and I want to thank him because he does watch the show. But I believe because when Mr. Wojo and Bill and Squatch and Richie and the Vogel brothers, if the Bigfoot out there realize that you're not out there to hurt them, okay, and they see you all the time, they could take a liking to you. Maybe they know that you're coming out in the woods, or they probably do know you're coming out in the woods, and then just like mess with you, like Squatch said, the little juveniles playing hide and seek with you. But Richie, I gotta tell you all something. Okay, Cindy came up because I was asking um, about how you only get like two or three ghost prints. Ghost prints. I'm sorry, Bigfoot prints. And she came out and said, because I asked her, does anyone have an idea what's going on? Hold on. She says she was wondering if it's because they are running and not putting the entire foot down. That's why you only see two, maybe three. And Squatchman says that they also like to climb too. So there's two possibilities there that I learned tonight from Cindy and the Squatchman. Let me get down here. But okay, here we go. All right. Great thought with the running. Yes, it was. Yes. Squatchman says, I live on a dead end road with over 3,000 acres across from my house. They used to slap my house at night, letting me know that they are juveniles wanting to play. And Michelle says, I share my videos paranormal because I want to share what I experience with others. And that's okay, Michelle. That's okay. If you want to share them, go for it. Not all, people will bash you for it. But I remember in 2006, when it really started to kick in, boy, I tell you what, it was craziness, man. Everybody was out for each other's throat and stuff like that. And it wasn't fun. It was fun. It was a dog-eat-dog world out there. Banter, Richie says, I've run down the hill when I was young and athletic and barely touched the ground and had a huge stride. That's downhill, but same theory. Interesting. Let me put that up so everybody could see that. Okay. Richie says, I've run downhill when I was young and athletic and barely touched the ground and had a huge stride. That's downhill, but the same theory. Yes, it is. Very, very, very interesting on that. But listen, it's coming up on the halfway mark, and I'm going to take a little break here. It'll be about, let me see, 40, about a minute 10. So if you have to go out and catch a cigarette, get something to drink, go to the bathroom, do what you got to do, I'll be back in about a minute 10. And let me get to the commercials here. There we go.
News on the flip side. It's time for you to get out and nominate your favorite podcast. There's an amazing show I want you to consider for the People's Choice Podcast Awards. The News on the Flip Side, in the category of politics and news. News on the Flip Side is a much different news and political program, which is not deemed as opinion news. Listen as anchor host Joe Montaldo brings you just the facts from trusted sources, which will allow you, the people, to make up your own minds on the various stories being reported on. Go to podcastawards.com to nominate the News on the Flip Side in the category of news and politics. That's podcastawards.com. Please take a moment and vote now.
I forgot to put myself back on. It's one of them days. But I want to thank, we were starting the second half of the show, Into the Night with me, Sean Kelly. I want to thank UPRN Talk Radio, 105.3 Miss New Orleans, 107.7 Mississippi. And I also like to thank Carnation again for sponsoring my show. Remember, Sunday nights, I also have a show. It's Into the Night with me on this same platform. And usually, like I like to tell everybody, that my Sunday night is the relaxation night, because everyone had a rough week. They went away for the weekend. They want to come back, and they just want to sit around and listen to the podcast. And you know what? So I'm doing pretty good. There's a lot of people that are listening. I also want to tell people that my show is broadcasted in 200 different countries, so it's pretty interesting. So I want to thank everybody in those 200 countries who are listening to my show tonight. Thank you for listening. I truly appreciate it. But in the first half, I was discussing about Bigfoot, the recap of the month, Bigfoot month, when I had all these great friends, great investigators, people who really care about, about the Bigfoot, researching the Bigfoot. It was a great month, so we were just recapping about it. So the big thing that we talked about was what Cindy Simpson brought up, was that, that maybe because they also run, how investigators go out and they'll, do, a casting of 2 or 3 Bigfoot prints, and they can't find any more. But Cindy came up with the conclusion that maybe they're running. Okay. And when they run fast, then, maybe the foot isn't really actually getting imprinted into the ground. And Richie B, from Banter with Richie B, who is boots on the ground, investigators, Bigfoot investigators up in Massachusetts, him and Mr. Wojo and the Vogel brothers, You know, Richie believes in that. They said it could possibility be, which is great. Also have to mention Bill Rigby, who was also on this show too. So Richie said, I've run down a hill when I was young and athletic and barely touching the ground and had a huge stride. That's downhill, but same theory. And he's right about Cindy's theory about them running and not touching. But they also climb. They also climb. Squatchman says, I've seen one run parallel up a hill 40 yards from me. It was gone in about 5 seconds. Got a 17-inch print from it. Was that one print? Just one? I guess that's whenever they start taking off. You know how you go off on the one foot and start hauling butt. But it just seems like really, really interesting. And Cindy kind of opened up my eyes about the running bit, you know. Um, 3. Squat's got 3. Okay, thanks, buddy. And so I always thought, and even to this day, I believe that the Bigfoot and the UFOs kind of coexist with each other, right? And that's my theory, you know. I because the research that I did um, was and the guests that I had on my shows in the past, and when I was with Jenny on Chasing Prophecy, there was always a lot of UFO activity happen when the Bigfoot was sighted, you know. So, and I always thought, well, if they're running and they're only getting 2 or 3 footprints, maybe they went into another dimension. Is it possible? Of course it's possible, especially out in the woods, especially out in Washington State and Oregon, California, and Montana out there. Idaho, my God, Washington State, that's all trees. And we did have a show a long, long time ago. We talked with a couple people, um, and they said it's like when you walk into the woods out there in Washington, you're like in a whole new different world. It's like something that it's nice, it's peaceful, okay, but there's an eerie feeling about it because you just feel um, the energy in the air, the strange energy in the air. Um, like whenever they felt like these people that talked about it, the energy was like was so intense that they was forced like they were being pulled through a portal. Now, do I believe that there are portals? I know there's probably portals out here in Pennsylvania, out in the woods, and I know Massachusetts all over the place. So maybe they do jump from, different places, and you know what? That's okay. But that's where you get Squatchman, Richie B, Bill Rigby, Mr. Wojo, and the Vogel brothers are going out and doing their investigation to get the answers that we all seek. Yes. Cindy Simpson says, my mom is 77 and she believes also Bigfoot and UFOs are together. Oh, really? I got to sit down and talk to your mom about that. It's just, I remember that there's a show out there. It was on YouTube. It was Missing 411, David Paulides or something like that. And one of the cases where the old man went missing, I really believe what they were saying that he got abducted, this old man. And but as they were looking for this old man, there was a ton of Bigfoot action. So who knows what's going to happen? But for all my friends out there who are doing the investigation, they're going to get us the answers. I believe that in my heart. And when they do get the answers, they'll share it with people who actually care about the Bigfoot. There's just so much that we can learn from them. There's so much we can learn. When Richie B and Mr. Wozo were on, they were showing pictures of huts, like this circular and trees being bent, crosswise, making X's. I have never seen that in my entire life. Now, a lot of people can say, they look at those and say, well, a human did that. A human made those things. And you know what? If that's what you want to believe, then go for it. What the hell? But when you actually see these trees, these small saplings just being bent like that, and when you go like that and you bend, and they don't break, and then they got twisties, and the twisties, is when you have a tree, the twisties. Okay, Cindy says you need to go around to the Bigfoot festivals when you retire. I plan on doing that, buddy. I really do. And Squatsman says need to check out my group, the Elusive Ones. Squats, if you can you send me? Maybe you did, I don't know, but if you can send me a link, buddy, I'd appreciate it. And then I'll go join your group. But there's all kinds of good groups out there that really care about what they're doing. Now, just like the paranormal, and paranormal groups, there's always either in interfighting between the groups or within the groups, and I'm sure it's also in with the Bigfoot community. What we need to do, and I'm talking from my experience. I'm not talking about anybody else. When I tell you something, I'm telling it from me. Okay, is that we need to let it go. We need to let all that bullshit go. You don't need it. Okay, it's on. Okay, Squad says it's on Facebook, and he said he's been following my forest friends for over 40 years. Bill Rigby, I can debunk a lot of structures, but there is some that is like, wow, and that's true. Bill, welcome to the show, buddy. Thank you for popping in. And there's another, like I was telling everybody this on my show tonight, you got Bill, Squatch, Richie B, Mr. Wozo, the Vogel brothers. I mean, come on. And there's a lot more out there. This was a great month for the Bigfoot. All the Bigfoot people on my show. And Cindy Simpson says, that's why I prefer podcasts on YouTube so I don't have to see drama. That's a good move, Cindy. That's a good move. I really wish I didn't have ADHD because I'm lucky and I do have it. I'm lucky I can sit and listen because I always need to be doing something, but that's okay. Once they give me my medication for it, then we'll see what happens. But yeah, we don't need the inner fighting. We just need Bill and everybody just get together, have one big powwow, and just share their evidence, share their stories, and come up with the conclusions. Because, excuse me, and I'm sure there's going to be more things that they're going to learn. In this past month, I've learned so much about the Bigfoot. I'm just grateful for everyone that was on my show. It really is, because they were great people. But we'll do it. We'll do it. No, trying to get me out in the woods, guys. I don't know. You better bring like the cavalry, or you better bring like Delta Force or something like that and surround me when we go out in the forest, because I'm from Pittsburgh, buds, and I'm not really that good in the forest. I would be lost. I might go in 30 yards and I'll be like, okay, that's far enough for me. But that's the truth. That's the truth. But you know what's crazy though? I mean, I can go in the most demonic haunted house out there and not have a problem and know my way around, But being out the forest is different. Sure, I always I talk about gold prospecting, and yes, I do gold prospecting. I go out in the woods, but you know what? It's close to the road, okay, and it's in the daylight with other people around, so I'm okay with that. Cindy says, "You're like my husband. Once you retire, you will have time. 3 more years, honey. 3 more years. 3 more years. I'll be retired. And if I don't retire, I'll retire at 67. But right now, it's 3 more years, and we'll get there." Bill Rigby says, "I always say we can learn from each other," and that's the truth, Bill. We can. You know, I learn from the Bigfoot hunters or investigators, right? And I'm sure that they could learn something from me from hunting ghosts. You know, maybe, I know that when you go investigate at a place, you just got to sit in a room totally black and talk to something out there to get a response that person might not even be there, you know, or deal with a house that's really haunted, it's really negative, and run into a lot of not so good things happening. But it's all the same. We're out looking for the answers. And one day when the answers come, then we'll know. And then we can relax. And then what the coolest part about the whole thing is, we'll have the answers. And all we do is sit back and watch other people start up investigating too. And watching the newbies come in and start, doing their Bigfoot investigations or UFOs or aliens or the ghost, investigations to watch. I want to share this real quick. When we had an open investigation down at the Dudas Farm back in April, I think it was. April. March or April, one or the other. And we had about 21 people down there. So it was me, Val, and he's killed Eric. Yeah, Eric. We're down there. And we kind of like helped them do their investigation, what to do, how to run it, and see what just to be there to give them support. But after the investigation was over, and this was like the sweetest thing in the world, me, Eric, and Val, we just sat on the picnic bench, and they were all surrounded together. Everyone's showing each picture that they caught and explaining how they caught it. And it was all something new to them. Yeah, it was great. And I just turned to Val and Eric. I said, "We were there at that one time. We were there. We were there." But watching the new people come into in the fields, the paranormal field, the Bigfoot field, God bless them. They're all energetic and go at it. And God bless them. And all us old timers. They'll call us all old timers. Yeah, we'll just sit back and relax and enjoy. And that's what you do. And you know what's crazy about that whole thing, about that whole situation? They might come up with some other type of evidence, okay? Some other type of thing that we don't know about, and they can share with us, and then we can put it in our own books. We can put it on our own computers. And, we come up with this, with the ideas that they come up with. Because it will be never ending. So like I said at the beginning of the show, Bigfoot does exist. I have no doubt in my mind. Okay? And I know I am going to see one. Or maybe be out in the field with my people, my boys, wherever it may be. Pennsylvania, Massachusetts, Ohio, wherever. West Virginia. I'll go out and I'll hear the knock. Bill Rigby says, I love the younger generation coming into the research. They are our future, and that is so true. Let me repeat what Bill said. Bill said, I love the younger generation coming into the research. They are our future. Thank you, Michelle. Michelle says, I hope you get to see one. I hope so too, Michelle. Um, that is so true, Bill. Right on the money on that. You know, because it's funny, doing this for about 6 years now, I've always had talked about UFOs, had guests about UFOs, and damn, wouldn't you know that finally, back in February, I saw a UFO. I mean, this sucker was huge. It was like at 5 o'clock in the morning. I was headed to work. 1 minute was there, and poof, it was gone. I mean, this thing was huge, huge, you know. And so I guess the Bigfoot deal, that's my next one, or maybe a cryptid, who knows? But it gives me something to look forward to. And I know the more that I do these shows, the more people I meet, the more I will have the opportunity to do that. And in return, I will be happy to take them on an investigation. So, Squatchman, Miss Bill Rigby, Richie and Mr. Wojo and the Vogel brothers, thank you so much for spending on this month, spending my month with me on Tuesday nights. It was a great month. I learned so much, and I truly appreciate it. Who knows what's coming up next month? I haven't figured it out. And whoa, there was a ghost that just walked in front of my camera. But that's for another show. Um, but children, if you can, please go to your parents, give them a hug, and tell them that you love them. And parents, please go to your children, give them a hug, and tell them that you love them. And if you have no children, if you have no parents, find somebody and give them a hug. Give them a hug and tell them that you love them. Because those 3 words, I love you, go a long way. And on that note, everybody, good night, and we'll see you Sunday.